Greetings, friends. We've come a long way from 32 hopefuls becoming 16, now 16 becoming 8.
Which is bullshit since I'm not in this. Come on, guys, this isn't the Electoral College. I want a frickin' revote.
Good luck with that. The results are British Ninja went over Misanthropony.
And Finnthepony went over Spear Productions. Any sour grapes there, FNGR, that your Rookie of the Year went out to the generic Eric?
Not at all, the people have spoken. Finn is a fine lad, besides, this is far from over.
With only a quarter of the contests back, I totally disagree. In a stunning upset, Sketchy the Changeling put down DWK. Can you believe this? I can't believe it.
Well, DWK will be the first to tell you that he's a comedian and a goofball. I'm proud Analysis Daily fans went with the right choice instead of the cool guy, even though, don't get me wrong, DWK is literally the cooler guy.
Anyways, Keyframe took down good old Magic Max.
I'm sure he loved every moment of it.
Golden Fox, once against FNGR shoddy picking, went up against me and totally wiped the floor with me.
What? I don't hate Goldie. I just underestimated the man.
Did you learn your lesson yet?
Not even close. I've got plans. Deckard Spade overwhelmed Fat Man Falling.
Are you shocked by this at all?
I kinda am, honestly. I mean, besides Deckard making a lot of friends and being an accomplished content creator, I can only guess what eludes Fat Man Falling is...
Fans with good taste?
There's nothing to brand his videos as his. I mean, he doesn't necessarily need an OC. Maybe a logo, a banner, something that lets people instantly know that you're looking at a Fat Man Falling video.
Or just an OC. Speaking of, Tricky Fox goes over Emerald Comet in the tightest competition of this round. Thoughts?
I'm not shocked. The first time I saw Tricky, I knew he was good. He's active, consistent, and a fine representative of the community, as well as all the contestants.
Brawny Buck goes over Stupid Private. I can't wait to see what mischief Brawny gets in promoting his videos this time. I'm so enthused.
There will be 2 weeks to vote this time, because ANY bitched about it.
Hashtag blame ANY.
You only got 4 out of 8 people to vote for. This time, no write-ins. For example, I'm going to go Keyframe, Deckard Spade, Brawny, and British Ninja. Now for the matchups. Tricky Fox versus Deckard Spade. With both Tricky and Deckard being knowledgeable, well-behaved, and above all else consistent, it'll be a really hard time picking who deserves to go forward. Keep in mind, this may well be the most important pick of them all because building new stars is what keeps the community growing and sustaining.
By the end of it, in order to end the fight, Frigid's head was decapitated on a van door. Now at the time I had also NPC'd out his family and ended up making one of them into a player character to replace Frigid. But by that time, the sim fell apart. The administration made some poor decisions regarding their stories and involving their players, and the people that were working on the sim itself decided that they were going to leave the fandom. Now, why am I saying all of this? Well, some of the players who didn't want to see the story end like that decided that they were going to pick up the rule set and start their own sim. Which brings us to Fallout Equestria Journeys.
Also known as Rock Bottom vs. Tumbleweed, T-Rex fit that no one cares about, and... that place where I can't see my wife and kid again because you had me killed by an ice cream truck, you
Was right. They did in fact kidnap Floriad alongside her mother, Luna, Celestia, and the main 6. Well, that sounds highly improbable. Don't get me wrong, getting rid of all Alicons at the same time is a good plan and makes Chrissy much more dangerous, but there was such a nice build up to the Crystal Empire invasion that it is a bit disappointing that it all happened off screen and was only a small piece of a bigger picture. If this two-parter would have focused on Floriad's kidnapping and the Crystal Empire, it would make the Crystalling seem more important, as it would have been tied together with the finale. As things are now, nothing would really change and were to pretend the Crystalling never happened.
Keyframe versus Golden Fox. So, if I said talented artist, analyst, and figurehead of the Brawny community, you'd have a hard time to see which of these two I was talking about. Besides me being a massive ass and putting loved ones against one another, I could make a convincing argument for either or. Sadly, Golden Key will not be advancing as a couple past this state of the tournament. It should be a lot of fun to see which way friends vote with this one. Good luck!
I'm guessing you guys know I'm planning to do a video predicting the finale. And you guys have similar predictions as well. And if I don't let you guys collab with me, you'll never leave me alone until I'm on the brink of insanity.
Pretty much.
Well, I guess it would be good to get others.
Well, if you insist, maybe I can enlighten you. Right, let's establish what we do know. The baby has arrived way too early. Now given this is a fantasy setting and that allows for some disbelief, but horse pregnancy normally takes at least 10 months to a year. We found out that the baby was coming on the tail end of Season 5, and even then Cadence didn't even show a bump. She is clearly very early in her pregnancy. And those who argue that the whole 10 months passed over the season break take Starlight into account. You really think she would get lost after 10 months of living in the palace?
There is also the idea that the incubation period of a bug would likely be significantly smaller than a pony.
Are you still on about that?
We weren't really expecting too much. Colgate was immediately brimming with excitement as the Princess of Friendship was refriending her. A little off-putting, but to be honest, I had to contain my excitement when my friend that went off to be an international model decided he wanted to reconnect with everyone.
Well, that's one way to look at it. By the way, did you say Colgate? Her name is Minuet.
You mean Colgate?
Minuet.
What kind of musician would have an hourglass as their cutie mark?
Musician? What are you talking about?
Minuet, a musical term. A slow, stately ballroom dance for two in triple time, popular especially in the 18th century. A piece of music in triple time in the style of a minuet. You've seen The Music Man, right?
No, all I know is that it influenced Flim and Flam's song from an episode I don't want to talk about.
Oh, don't worry about that. They're special talents ripping things off. The Music Man's a classic musical, and there's a piece in there called the Minuet in G that the kids are taught to play. It's a musical term.
That's beyond irrelevant, just...
British Ninja versus Finnthepony. Naturally, I have my favorites in this situation. British Ninja has shown a great ability of being entertaining as well as critical. Finn's shown a willingness to learn and a vast amount of diversity.
Stranger Than Fanfiction is very much self-aware that the main plot is a poorly written adventure story. Uncreative set pieces, amusing but stereotypical villains, and a magical MacGuffin number 76 is used to find lost treasure number 104. A lot of what Quibblepants said about what's going on around him was pretty much correct. He isn't mocking the writer of Daring Do, he's mocking the writer of the show, who inadvertently created Daring Do. The idea, of course, is to poke fun at both the writers and the overly analytical fans who appreciate art on a higher level than most casual watchers who just tend to turn their brain off and enjoy mindless fun. And in my opinion, what makes this episode great is that it doesn't feel like a one-sided fight. The audience and Dash, knowing Daring Do is real, leads us to disagree with what Quibble is saying. Yet, at the same time, this episode is written in a way that supports Quibble's argument completely, to the point where Quibble can solve everything simply because what's going on around him is incredibly stereotypical and cliche.
And I thought they would spend most of the episode just being jealous of them. It wouldn't really be out of character for either of these two, since AJ practiced really hard beforehand while her friends picked it up pretty much instantly, and of course we all know old Rainbow is all about winning, and gets really upset when she's not the best at something. But no, what we actually get is the complete opposite. Rainbow and AJ are actually really proud of Pinky and Flutters, to the point where they think that they should be the ones to play for the Ponyville team. Well, there's a turn of events I wasn't expecting. But eventually their competitive spirits start to take hold when they begin pushing Pinky and Fluttershy too hard, to the point where it's not even fun to play the game anymore. That's when we're given the moral that when you're playing a game with others, or doing anything for that matter, you should simply let them do their own thing, instead of sucking all the fun out by focusing only on what matters to you. A decent lesson for a sporting episode, but what really sells it is the way Pinky and Flutters finally spill the beans.
There's no way that we can get in the zone because the zone sounds like a horrible place since we are terrible at Buckball and we are going to lose and let everybody down and we don't want to play it!
Brawny Buck versus Sketchy the Changeling, the old guard versus the new. Brawny shares his unique brand of humor and insight, but rarely combines the two. As for Sketchy, his perspective and thoughts have gained quite the following, which is showing no signs of slowing down. Easily two of the biggest dark horses of the tournament. Happy voting.
Her mistakes and intentions on the spot. But that would have required self-sacrifice and showing weakness, which Applejack either didn't think to do, or was simply prevented from doing by her own ego. Thus, it could only snowball until it was impossible to keep track of all of the factors involved. Additionally to Applejack's fault, we should also acknowledge that Big Macintosh had an equal opportunity to make amends early on. But while it's good that he was voicing his disapproval to Applejack, he chose to be silent to those that mattered, and could have done a much better job at being tactful and removing his own competitive ego from the situation.
That I disliked? There weren't a lot of them this season. Not only did it take me a while to pick the episodes that I didn't like, but I also had to decide if I really disliked them or if I just didn't care for them. In every other season, I could easily name an episode that I flat out didn't like in a heartbeat. Season 1, Call the Cutie. Season 2, A Friend Indeed. Season 3, Too Many Pinkie Pies. Season 4, Castlemania. Season 5, Slice of Life. With Season 6, I had a much harder time deciding if I really felt that strongly about some of the episodes I picked out. Did I really dislike AJ's Day Off and Top Bolt, or were they just meh for me?